Welcome to Mitishi region, Belyaninovo village. So I decided to take a tour. Well, actually, I came to visit someone and then I decided to show you all around what it looks like in the countryside. Well, some persons may say that this isn't the worst amongst all countrysides. I'd agree to that, but I just want to show you so you have a look to see how it looks like. Now, this is in the outskirts of Moscow, and here you see the environment. It's literally quiet, and the type of buildings that we have here are more like bungalows, which is quite different from what you'd see in the center of Moscow. For in the center of Moscow, where you see high-rise buildings and high-rise residential buildings, but out here you barely see one. Now, most people love to come out to this part of Moscow for the sake of peace and tranquility. So now you notice most of them are like a story building high, or for some it's just one single bungalow. Now let's go around so I'll show you. It's just me going down to the end of this street and then walking back down, so you see everything for yourself. Now, unlike in the major cities where it's quite noisy, cars are going around everywhere, it's quite busy, or here it's a little bit quiet with serenity. No one seems to disturb any other person. Everyone just stays on his own. They don't live together basically like it is in residential high-rise buildings. They just stay on their own in their own buildings. So basically you're gonna go see to the end of the road, and after that we're gonna walk into a particular building. So I'll show you how it is from the inside, because every single one of these buildings, I believe, have both underground and our stories. They have stories as well, just as you see. So now you see the street, quite quiet. No one seems to move around, unlike in the major city. Walk around in the street, at least 2 to 3 persons may have passed, by. But here, there's basically no one except down the street where about 2 men were decorating their Christmas tree. And you see, out here we have playgrounds, more like locally constructed playgrounds for kids in the vicinity. And here I think that was like a frozen river, because of the cold. And so we go further down, we see, okay, here you have like garages just by the house. Meanwhile, in residential buildings in the city, most of their parking lots are usually under the ground, or a whole particular building is dedicated for just parking in it. So we go further, we see that this next guy too has a parking lot, or most times even in the building, it just like in the compound, you just walk in and then there's like a garage there for where the car could go in under. See, so far I've been walking out through and there has been nobody at all. The place is quiet. But one thing is, as I was walking past these buildings, there were dogs barking. So I feel most times that the dogs they use around here might be for security purposes and not just as house pets. So yeah. And then we go further. Now you see some stories down there, but they're not necessarily high-rise buildings, which is on the other side. And then we walk down, we're almost getting to the end of the street. You see like this particular building, which I suggest is a garage. Now see, finally 1 person or 2 persons down there, and they're decorating their Christmas tree, as you could see. Now over there you can see some bungalows, and now that's towards the end of the street. So you just see for yourself how houses are around here. Roads there. It's a quiet environment. It's so peaceful, quite different from what you see in city center like Moscow. And here people just mind their business, people just do their stuff by themselves. Now that's the end of the road. It's more like a close where you see that small building there. And over there was a dog barking at me. Well, so it just alerts the owner that there's someone out here who's filming in their environment without Commission. Okay, so that's it now. I'm gonna take you in so you see inside the building of a particular house to see how it looks like. Okay, here we are now. So I'm approaching this particular building, and if you notice something on the gate, there's like a doorbell, which is quite different from what you'd see in other residential buildings in the center of Moscow. What you see there is most times they don't even have gates, and then they just have double phones, which you just pressing code and the door automatically opens to you. Now this is it on inside the compound, which is basically still to some extent under construction. And on this, here's what we have: the kind of artificial kind of outside garage where the car is just parked under. And while they're still making some more constructions inside, I just decided to take you so you could see around the vicinity. Now we go back inside so you just see how it is on the inside. Remember I said it's still basically in the construction. It hasn't been totally finished yet. So we go further, and well, it's quite beautiful on the inside because you have trees planted all everywhere and the snows have actually piled up. So work for this period of time has to stop. Now here, see at the door, we have just the key hole where you just use the key to open it, unlike the domophone where you use codes to just open it. Now what you should expect from this kind of house is something simple like maybe like a sitting room, a parlor, and here's the wardrobe where you have your winter jacket and now see flowers on them. It's quite beautiful. It's just a large hall, your parlor, and some rooms, and then the kitchen, and then the ground for maybe storage, or it could serve as a bunker. Now there is an office, which is more like a room. Now we're going under the ground to see how it looks like online. So in case of anything, for example, like a thief attack or whatever, people could just come down and stay here or find some room underground and stay. And then till when everything is passed, and then you could come back. And now we go back up again, and we see that for each of them, each of those houses basically should have about 3 to 4 rooms, a kitchen area, a toilet, and then some other rooms here, which is upstairs. I'm going up now, and then you can see that there are quite a few rooms up here as well, with this long kind of corridor and other things in there. And that's basically how it is. So that's the view from the window. And now we go back down. So what you see, kind of like a large hall, because it's just a meeting that was just finished, and so people are kind of trying to go back home. And then that's the kitchen in there where you see people having meetings and eating. So this is basically it when there were less amount of large group of people or persons in there. So now after I was done, I was heading back home, and I want to show you something more like the transportation system that's out here in this part of the city is quite different from what you'd see in the center part of the city. Yeah, the buses are quite different, probably driven by personal drivers who themselves have an association where they meet and dedicate jobs to particular drivers that will drive this particular vehicle or not. Also, yeah, and then basically the payment systems here, it's quite different because in the city center you have a card where you use, it's called a Troika card, or your social card where you use to pay for city buses and other means of transportation. But out here, you either pay in cash or you pay by a card, your bank card. So we came out here and we're waiting for the bus. Now, see this bus station that you see, it's quite different from what you'd expect in the city center because they're a little bit more designed with the names of the stations on them. So this quite looks old and hasn't been changed yet, maybe owing to the fact that it's quite outside the city center in a village region. So probably that's why. And then here you see the traffic is quite much because most people, for its serenity and its quietness. And again, there's a yacht club which is quite close, which people come to just use the yacht and then just enjoy themselves out there. At this point, we're waiting for our bus, and like I said, the buses out here are different from city buses, where you'd have to use either the Troika card or the social card to pay for it. It's either paid by your bank card or cash, which is given directly to the driver. So we're currently waiting for our bus, and now here it comes. Oops, it arrives, and then we're going in. The tour is quite over because I'm going back to the city center, and I see there are plenty of persons inside the bus, and here we go in. Now you see this green device that you're seeing there. Place your bank card on it and it automatically deducts money from it, or you give cash directly to the driver. So here am I on my way back home. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you liked it. Please subscribe to Side It for more interesting content. Thank you and see you next time.